More Japanese companies operating in China have suspended operations for safety reasons. Japan's government has decided to buy a set of islands in the East China Sea that are also claimed by China. It triggered a wave of protests, some of them violent. Sony, Honda, Toyota and Yamaha are among the companies that have suspended work. Trade between the two countries is worth some $345 billion a year. Let's get a view now from Stephanie Kleine-Ahlbrandt, who's the project director of the International Crisis Group. She joins us live from Beijing. Thanks for being with us. This bilateral crisis has been bubbling for some while now. Where do you see it going?
Well, for now, today's a very sensitive day in China with regard to Japan relations because it's the 81st anniversary of the invasion by Japan of Manchuria. So I think the focus of the government has been to try and prevent a continuation of the types of very violent protests that we saw over the weekend. In the longer term, however, I think that we've reached a new stage of tensions in China-Japan relations because of the steps being taken by both sides, which makes it difficult, frankly, to really ratchet back this type of public opinion and to go back to a situation where one can normalize and try and bring relations back to where they were before these incidents.
Given the transfer of power that is likely to happen a little later in the year, is this a welcome or unwelcome distraction for the government?
Well, actually, Beijing was very keen on trying to prevent foreign policy crises this year. And really, to that end, it put pressure, for example, on North Korea not to test a nuclear weapon. So I think that this is unwelcome in many ways because leaders right now are frankly trying to focus very much on the political and leadership transition, which is coming up. And this comes at a very unwelcome time. At the same time, it has been a convenient way to allow people to let off steam. There's a lot of criticism these days with regard to inflation, corruption, a lot of rumors about disunity in the government. So it can also be seen as a mobilization of people against an external enemy, which could be seen as convenient for the government as well.
With China said to have sent patrol ships out to the disputed islands, is there a possibility that the situation could yet deteriorate, a possibility that we might see some sort of skirmish?
That's precisely what we at International Crisis Group are worried about, because there's been a change in the status quo. China has passed a baseline announcement which really requires it to be patrolling in these disputed waters with its law enforcement vessels. And already this morning, a Chinese law enforcement vessel did penetrate into the disputed waters. There hasn't yet been an incident, but with the number of vessels, both official vessels, that is, not just fishing vessels, by both Japan and China that are now patrolling those disputed waters, I think it's just a question of time before there's an incident. And then it will require great leadership, vision, and diplomacy to actually walk that type of an incident back in order to not permanently harm relations or, worse, lead to some type of conflict.
Stephanie, we'll leave it there. Many thanks indeed. Stephanie Kleine-Ahlbrandt there, speaking live from Beijing.